That was one of those games that felt like a movie, unbelievable, absurd, and somehow still real. The Buffalo Bills pulled off a comeback for the ages, stunning the Baltimore Ravens in a game where, for 3.5 quarters, it looked like they didn't even belong on the same field. Final score? 41-40. And how did it end? With a walk-off field goal from Matt Prater, a kicker signed off the couch just days before. A 41-year-old former Pee Wee football coach strolls into Highmark Stadium and sends the place into chaos. If you scripted it, people would say it's too far-fetched. You've probably seen some crazy finishes before. The Tony Romo Monday Night Football meltdown comes to mind. 5 interceptions, an onside kick, and somehow a loss for the Bills. But this was different. This wasn't just a fluke or a shootout. This was the Ravens dominating Buffalo in every possible way, rushing for over 240 yards, controlling the clock, bullying the Bills' defense, and then watching it all unravel in a matter of minutes. 9 minutes left. The Bills punt the ball. 4th and 15, they don't go for it. Fans start heading for the exits. At home, you probably turn the game off. No one could blame you. There was no juice left, no hope. It felt over. Even when they got the ball back with under 2 minutes to go, the expectation wasn't victory, it was heartbreak. A valiant comeback, sure, but one that would fall short. A missed opportunity. That's how it was supposed to end. But that's when the absurdity began. Josh Allen, number 17, turned into a cheat code. Suddenly, the guy who had been under pressure all night, who couldn't get anything going consistently, snapped into hero mode. And you could feel it. The team believed. The fans believed, because when 17 has the ball in his hands, there's always a chance. And the Ravens knew it too. And still, the thought kept coming. How are they going to stop Baltimore? Because let's be real, until that point they couldn't. Lamar Jackson was doing whatever he wanted. Derrick Henry was throwing defenders like rag dolls, turning linebackers into memes, and stiff-arming safeties back into the earth's crust. Zay Flowers was a ghost nobody could touch. The Ravens' offense was a machine, and the Bills' defense looked like it was playing in slow motion. And then, a fumble. Ed Oliver makes a play. The ball comes loose, and everything shifts. That was the moment. You could feel it. The stadium came back to life. And it wasn't just the turnover. It was the belief that came with it. Josh leads a touchdown drive. They go for 2. Don't get it. Okay. Then they get a 3-and-out. Another chance. Another drive. And they finish it with Prater, who somehow looks like someone's dad out there, walking onto the field and nailing the game winner like it's 2011 again. Absolute chaos. Players lifting him up, fans losing their minds, Mr. Brightside blaring through the stadium. It didn't feel like week 1. It felt like January. And maybe it should have. These are 2 teams with real playoff expectations. The Ravens? Stacked. Deep. Physical. Fast. Probably the best roster in football. And yet, they let it slip. Again, it's a familiar script for Baltimore. Whether it's the Chiefs or the Bills, they find a way to collapse when it matters most. Up 15 with 5 minutes to go, and they played not to lose. Soft zones. Prevent defense. Letting Josh Allen go into surgeon mode and pick them apart. It's baffling. If you're a Ravens fan, you're sick. Not because your team got blown out, but because they dominated and still walked away with a loss. But from the Bills' side, this was a culture win, a belief win. It wasn't pretty, far from it. The offense was disjointed for long stretches. Josh was under pressure. The line struggled. Spencer Brown had a tough night. The wideouts couldn't create separation. The run game was passive. And the defense? Let's be honest, it was awful for most of the night. They couldn't get a stop until late. Flowers was running free. Henry was untouchable. Lamar looked like the MVP version of himself. But when the Bills needed it, desperately, they made the plays. Ed Oliver was a beast. Joey Bosa, too. Greg Rousseau had his moments. And then there was Keon Coleman. What a night. He dropped an early screen pass, and it felt like a bad omen. But he kept coming. Big catch after big catch. Tough plays along the sideline. Contested grabs. And then the final one, setting up the field goal. Doesn't score, wisely, keeping the clock moving. That's maturity. That's situational awareness. He came up flexing like he knew it was his moment. Cook lifting him up, the crowd going wild. That was Keon's game. And let's talk about Josh. This guy is a unicorn. The stuff he does, the way he just decides, I'm not losing tonight, and turns it on, that's rare. He wasn't perfect. He missed throws. He struggled at times. But when it mattered, he carried this team, like he always does. He didn't need a clean pocket or perfect play calls. He needed a sliver of hope and a shot at redemption. And he delivered. The 2-point plays? Still a concern. The short yardage calls? A bit of mess. But the heart, the resilience, the guts, it was all there. Even the kicker story feels like a movie subplot. Matt Prater flies in on Thursday morning, meets the team, maybe shares a donut in the special teams meeting, and 3 days later, he's the hero. Some of the players didn't even know who he was. Thought he was a coach. And there he is, booting a game winner, getting hugged by Josh, lifted by teammates, and serenaded by 70,000 fans. That's legendary stuff. Now, let's be clear, the Bills have work to do. This game was magic, but it also exposed a lot of problems. The run defense? Shredded. The tackling? Awful. The safeties had a rough night. Cole Bishop got stiff-armed into another dimension by Derrick Henry. The linebackers looked slow. The communication was off. And once Baltimore got into the second level, it was lights out. No resistance. No physicality. That has to change. Because, yeah, they won. And yeah, it was incredible. But you don't get to play with fire every week and expect to come out clean. This team has to get better. They have to be more physical. They have to match that intensity from the opening whistle. They can't rely on Josh Allen to be Superman every time out. He'll do it. He's that good, but it can't be the game plan. Still, what a moment. What a way to start the season. 1-0 with a win that felt like 10. You don't get many games like that. And when you do, you hold on to them. Because in that chaos, in that comeback, in that final drive, you saw what makes this team special. The belief, the fight, the heart. But for all the magic and momentum that came out of that win, there's a flip side that Buffalo can't ignore. Because beneath the euphoria, there's real concern. For over 50 minutes, this team looked flat-out overmatched, not just by a good team, but by a Ravens squad that was running through them like it was a practice scrimmage. The defensive problems weren't just schematic. They were physical, mental, cultural. This was a defense that got bullied at the line of scrimmage, that missed assignments, failed to wrap up, got out-hustled, out-hit, outplayed. And even though a few heroic moments at the end helped them escape, the deeper issues don't vanish with a W on the record. It starts up front. The defensive line got little push most of the night. And when they did create pressure, Lamar Jackson just danced his way out of it. He made people miss, extended plays, and broke the back of the defense over and over again. That 3rd and 12 scramble where Bosa and Russo had him dead to rights, and he still found a way to convert. That moment summed up the first 3 quarters. Baltimore was just better. Not tricking anyone, just lining up and doing what they do. And Buffalo couldn't stop it, couldn't even slow it down. And when the ball went to Derrick Henry, forget about it. The man looked like he was in his prime again. He wasn't just breaking tackles. He was embarrassing defenders. That toss play where he hit the edge and turned the corner was pure dominance. You could hear the collective groan in the stadium when he got the ball in space. Not because he was going to get a first down, but because he knew someone was about to get put on a poster. Cole Bishop found that out the hard way. A rookie safety gets asked to step in and ends up stiff-armed into next week. That's a welcome-to-the-league moment that stings. And it happened more than once. Zay Flowers was another problem all night long. Open constantly. Whether it was off misdirection, broken coverage, or simple speed, he torched the secondary. There was that one blitz, you probably saw it, where Cole Bishop came from about 15 yards deep. Next Gen Stats said it was the deepest blitz by a safety in 4 years. What are we doing here? That's not aggressive football. That's chaos disguised as strategy. Flowers slipped right into the vacated space and took off for 40 yards. The broadcast caught it. The fans saw it. The Ravens definitely saw it. And that's the kind of mistake you can't keep making. What's frustrating is that there were moments. Ed Oliver was a force early. Joey Bosa was disruptive. Greg Russo had a handful of nice snaps. Even Dorian Strong, filling in, held his ground better than most. But that's about where the praise ends. Matt Milano looked off. Terrell Bernard looked slow. The linebackers couldn't get off blocks. Tackling fundamentals were nowhere to be found. It was all arm tackles and chasing from behind. That's not a fluke. That's a culture thing. And it's got to change fast. Because even though the defense did come up big late, forcing a 3-and-out, making that critical fumble recovery, those were isolated plays. That was survival, not control. And against a team like the Ravens, that's playing with fire. If Henry doesn't cough up the ball late, if a bounce goes the other way, we're having a very different conversation. That comeback doesn't happen without a series of improbable, chaotic moments all lining up perfectly. And while it's amazing when it works, it's also a dangerous way to live. And then there's the offense, which somehow gets both credit and criticism in equal parts. Yes, they came alive when it mattered most. Josh went full alien mode in the final stretch. But for the majority of the game, it wasn't clicking. The run game was passive. The offensive line got pushed around. Spencer Brown had a tough outing. There was no rhythm, no flow. And while Josh made enough plays to save the day, he can't be expected to do it all himself every single week. That's not sustainable. There were times where it felt like last season all over again. The orbit motions, the same screen passes, the same back shoulder fades that never seem to work. Josh Allen's never been great at those throws. It's not his thing. The timing isn't there. And yet, they kept going to it. Over and over. On crucial downs, too. You've got third and short, high-leverage situations, and instead of downhill, physical football, it's a finesse call. A fade route. A read option. That's not what Josh does best. His strength is his strength. Put the ball in his hands and let him run downhill with purpose. That's the Josh Allen we know. Not some makeshift RPO quarterback trying to be something he's not. Still, it wasn't all bad on offense. James Cook had flashes. That backyard scramble play where he cuts across the field, blockers adjusting mid-run, pure chaos turning into yardage. That was vintage Bills chaos. Dalton Kincaid made some timely grabs. Josh Palmer stepped up. And Kean? Star-making night. He wasn't polished. He wasn't perfect. But he made contested grabs, toe-tapped on the sideline, bailed out busted plays, and built momentum with every snap. That's how young stars are made. In the chaos. In the comeback. When everything's on the line and you have to make the play. He did. Again and again. And then there's Matt Prater. What do you even say? A guy who's been around forever, gets signed out of nowhere, shows up on Thursday, and drills the game winner on Sunday. That's NFL madness at its finest. Half the locker room didn't even know who he was. Some thought he was a coach. Taron Johnson said he congratulated him and then realized he hadn't even spoken to the guy before. That's how sudden this all was. Prater walks in, hits the kick, and suddenly he's the hero. Fans lifting him up, Josh giving him hugs, the locker room going nuts. That's a story he'll tell for the rest of his life. But let's not let the moment blind us to the bigger picture. This team is 1-0, yes, but it could have easily gone the other way. The run defense is a real issue. The tackling, the secondary communication, the lack of physicality. And it's not like it gets easier. The Jets are next, a division rival with a gritty, attacking defense. A team that just let one slip against the Steelers but showed flashes of being real. You don't just walk into MetLife and expect to cruise. This isn't college football. You don't roll over lesser teams just because you have a quarterback with a cannon arm and highlight real potential. And maybe that's the most important lesson coming out of this game. The Bills have been living in that in-between space, where they're talented enough to win games like this, but flawed enough to almost lose them. And that balance is dangerous, because you can't just lean on Josh to keep pulling rabbits out of hats. At some point, the defense has to play a full 4 quarters. The offensive line has to set the tone early. The safeties have to stop missing tackles. That bend but don't break mentality? It broke multiple times Sunday night. The only reason it didn't shatter completely was because of a fumble and a quarterback with ice in his veins. And yet, the belief remains. You could feel it after the game. The way Josh celebrated. The energy in the locker room. The music. The singing. Mr. Brightside playing as if they just won the division. It felt like a playoff game because of what it took. And yes, those moments matter. They build chemistry. They build identity. but only if the team learns the right lessons. Because if the Bills come out next week thinking they're invincible, they're in trouble. If they think Josh will bail them out every time, they're missing the point. This league is ruthless. You either grow or you get exposed. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. Whispers are swirling across the NFL world as word spreads that Zay Flowers, the young and electrifying wide receiver, may be on the verge of a major career move. Sources close to the situation suggest that Flowers could be donning a new jersey soon, with the Buffalo Bills reportedly leading the race to secure his talents. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the buzz around league insiders is impossible to ignore. Flowers, known for his blistering speed, sharp route running, and uncanny ability to make defenders look foolish, has quickly become one of the league's most intriguing young talents. His breakout performances have not gone unnoticed, and teams are reportedly lining up to explore every possible avenue to bring him into their offensive arsenal. The Bills, already a team with championship aspirations and a high-octane passing attack, seem like a perfect match for a player of Flowers' caliber. Imagine him lining up alongside Stefon Diggs, stretching the field, and creating mismatches that could leave defenses scrambling week after week. Fans and analysts alike have started speculating about what such a move could mean for Buffalo's offense. Could Flowers immediately become the team's primary deep threat? Or would he complement existing stars, providing a versatile weapon in both the air and on jet sweeps? Rumors hint that the front office has been quietly aggressive behind the scenes, possibly lining up a deal that would shock the league. If true, this would mark a bold statement from the Bills, signaling that they are not just content with being contenders. They want to dominate the next era of the NFL. Of course, all of this remains speculative. Contracts, negotiations, and league approvals could still throw a wrench into the mix. But the mere idea of Zay Flowers in Buffalo has ignited social media debates and fantasy football fever alike. Fans are already imagining highlight reels of jaw-dropping catches and game-changing plays, while commentators wonder whether this could redefine the Bills' identity. Whether it's a masterstroke in team building or just another piece of off-season rumor mill chatter, one thing is clear: Zay Flowers' star is rising. And if these whispers hold any truth, Buffalo could be about to witness one of the most electrifying additions in recent memory. The NFL offseason is heating up, and all eyes are on Flowers as the league waits to see if this young sensation will truly blossom in a new home. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.